Hello everyone, Jackie and tailor-made fly fish. I've had a request to do a video on how I approach dry fly fishing for specifically grayling. So I'm on the river this afternoon. Conditions aren't bad, but it is full of leaves, which can make things a bit trickier. I've seen the odd fish rising. I'm going to try and cover them, get the fly over them. With any luck, they'll take the fly. I'm going to go through the setup I'm using. I'm using a DRIES Stream Flex 10-foot 3 weight. I like long, light rods for fly fishing. It's good for if you've got obstructions behind you and you're overhead casting. The longer reach would carry the line higher, so it makes that easier. The line I'm using is a finesse line, which I've designed for TaylorMade. It's the perfect dry fly line. On a low stretch core, it's got a soft coating and a memory free coating. It's got a very long fine front taper, so it's the ultimate presentation when delivering the dry fly. And on the end of that I have got a hand tied tapered leader. I sometimes prefer hand tied because I can lower the diameter of the butt section, so it's just that little bit finer, but it's still got a nice taper to it. And being hand tied, the line is also softer, so it's got less coils in it. As we know, some shop bought leaders, they're just not very good, like sea fishing line. On the end of that, I've got a Parachute Adams. Luckily, this time of year, the grayling, they're not fussy. We've had a couple of cold snaps, which can really switch on the feeding, because you know the end of the year is fast approaching, so they need to feed up and get the weight on fast. I use a Parachute Adams. It's got a nice little indicator on the back of it, so amongst all the leaves I can see it. That's the main thing. You need to make it easier for yourself. You need to be able to see what you're using, so when you do get a take, strike, you're into the fish. And also with this line, it's a soft coating, so if I'm casting over tricky fish in tricky locations, covering various different current lanes, the line, with it being softer, will follow the different speeds of water. So my fly will drift along further before it starts to skate. I did say grayling this time of year, they're not fussy, which they're not, but if the fly is skating on the surface, they will absolutely not touch it. I'll get in the river, get the camera set up. I've been keeping a close eye on the water. Not been a lot rising, to be honest, but they're there, and I've seen them before I started filming. So this line, I can present the fly well at short, medium and long range. It'll follow the various currents, so I'll get longer drift before I get any issues with the presentation of the fly. And a low diameter and a low stretch core, if I get a take, I can strike, quick set into the fish, and hopefully I'll show you how well it works, but we'll get into position and hopefully we can get a few. Wish me luck. Right, I'm in position. I'm going to make a cast over one fish I've seen rising. Another quick tip: last 6 feet of the fly line, give it a coat of Michelin grease. And you get a take and you strike, it's quicker and cleaner off the surface. This line also has a ultra low diameter welded loop, so there's no need for braided indicators, big bulky horrible heavy things on the end of the line, which are poor for presentation, and they are also poor for when you're picking the line off the surface, it and leaves a spray. I'll make a few casts, and with any luck we'll have to get this fish. Oh no, and I missed him. Luckily, he didn't feel the fish, so in theory, he won't have felt the hook. And if he's not felt the hook, he should still be feeding. We'll give him a second just to settle back down into position. When presenting the fly, make sure it's far enough above the fish to give it a chance to see it and take it. You don't want to be aiming on top of them, because that can, well, it can spook them for a start, and it can also not give them a chance to see the fly, so they'll not come up and take it. Another thing before you make your cast is come up with a plan before you make the cast. Keep an eye on the way the water's flowing, where the fish is rising, and how the bubbles and leaves are moving across the pool, because that'll show you how the line is going to move. If you want to get a perfect drift over the fish, the better you drift, the more chances you've got that it'll come up and take the fly. But I'll give it a minute. The fly is still floating, so we'll cover it again. That cast might have been a little bit too far, but let it drift through instead of picking up, because you'll spook the fish. First catch is a leaf. There we go, come on. Make another cast over the fish. You don't need anything to be fast and furious. And there you go. Take your time, plan your approach, fish delicately, and you've got a good chance of getting the fish. Nice fish, one of my favourite fish, the grayling. I love salmon fishing, I love trout fishing, but you can't beat the look of a grayling, can you? Stunning. Keep them in the water. Wet your hands. Just give him a little rest and I'll get him up to the camera. You can't be too careful with these precious creatures. Keep him over the net. Show you him really quickly. Whoop. And we'll get him back. Doesn't really get any better than that, does it? No rush, take your time. It's a long cast, this one. And the more space between you and the fish, the more can go wrong, so be ready and organised. Presented well, the drift was okay, but it didn't happen. Oh no, I missed him again. Not sure if there's a few different fish, or it's just the one that's very active. Give him a second to settle. And There we go. And right under that tree on the far side. Really delicate take. But as you can see across the various current lanes, the line is following it. So even at big distance, I can still get a quality drift. Which, when you dry fly fishing, is number one. Not a big fish, but good fighter. In the net, keep him in the water, wet your hand. Barbless hooks, straight out. Get him up to the camera, little stunner, straight back. That should have shown the effectiveness of the line. Perfect for dry fly fishing. There's nothing better than having an idea, coming up with a drawing, getting it developed, and it working so well. It's something I'm very proud of. But yeah, that's 2 fish in what, 5 or 6 casts. But fly fishing, you've got to slow everything down, keep an eye on what's happening, surroundings, where fish are, how they're taking. And if you can learn a little bit of watercraft, it's not that hard, but you must approach and present well. No fast movements, no excessive false casts, keep everything to a minimum. See the fish feeding on whatever lane he's feeding on. Notice how often he's coming up, then make a plan in your mind how you're going to approach him. Get that fly over him at the right time, but presented well, he'll come up and take it. Normally, I avoid casting such long distance at rising fish. Sometimes you can't get your body close to the fish, you've got to cast further. So occasionally, yeah, I cast at distance. But the more distance there is between you and the fish, the more that can go wrong. So keep that to a minimum. Keep within the white head length, but you can then shoot line if needs be. But only really get into shooting line when dry fly fishing if you physically can't get close enough to the fish to use a shorter length of line. But it still works even at long distance. On an ultra low diameter running line, the pickup's much quicker and much cleaner, straight to the fish. So even at distance, it is harder, but with the correct line, with the better presentation, the much finer diameters, the quicker pickup, the lower loop, welded loop on the end so it's cleaner, you'll get the fish. That one took a little bit of convincing. Don't want to get him downstream of me here. There's a lot of fast water below me. He's in the net, another nice fish. Wet your hands. Barbless hook out on the net. When they start being a bit lively, these grayling, keep them in the water. Just give them a minute to calm down. It won't catch any harm. Bring them up to the camera, really quick. Another stunning fish. And there he goes at 100 miles an hour. Well, I'm going to end the video at that. That's 3 nice fish total, in no more than probably 10 to 12 casts. You can see how I do things when specifically targeting grayling on dries. Hopefully you've taken a bit of something from this video, which you can use in your own fishing. You've seen how well the line works in tricky currents, creating a better drift, which gives you a longer drift, so more chance of the fish taking the fly. And as always, maybe I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.